Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you are a regular here. This is the continuation of the Idaho 4 series of readings, and today I'm going to continue in a moment who I'm reading for, because I want you all to know that if you don't already know and you're wondering where your monthly Zodiac readings have gone, I have started a second channel. And there'll be a little a little tag thing popping up here any moment. Please click on it now if you haven't done so already. Before you continue watching this video, please click on this link and go and subscribe to that channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell and you hit all notifications to make sure that you do get notified when your Zodiac reading comes in. So your Zodiac readings, your daily readings that I was doing on here before I became ill, also the crystal content and the tarot tutorials will also be all on that channel. So please, 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 if you haven't done so, please go and subscribe to that channel and make sure you click all the notifications as well, and make sure you watch your Zodiac readings as well. So back to today's reading. So who am I reading for today? I'm doing things a little bit differently because I got to a point where I thought, who's next? Who is next in the order? And it's starting to get increasingly difficult. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to leave it up to the universe. I'm going to leave it to my guides to tell me who I should be reading for next. So what I've done is I've put the names of all the people, not all of them. Some people I think don't need to be read again. I might get to read them again, who knows? But the most significant people, including people I haven't read yet, like law enforcement, a lot of the solicitors, people involved with the university, politicians, you name it, anyone that I have read for, or important people I've already read for, and some people that I haven't read for are in this jar. So I'm going to do a lucky dip and I'm going to pull out a name and I'm going to read for that person today. So let's see. Okay, I've got a name. I promise you they're all different. I can't unwrap them all and show you, but I promise you they are all different. So I'm going to unwrap this now and see who are we reading for today. Drum roll. Wow, okay. So the universe thinks that today, I don't know if you can read this. Gosh. I'm reading for Judge Stephen Hippler. Can you see? Don't know if you can, but I promise you that's what it says. The lighting. So Judge Stephen Hippler, let's go. So I will be starting with the Clarifying Life Situations deck, because it's someone I haven't read for before. Disclaimer time. This is a psychic reading. I use tarot cards, I use oracle cards, and occasionally I get messages from spirit. I interpret these messages in my own way, and you may interpret these messages in your own way, and I encourage you to do so. At no point am I claiming any of this to be factual. Am I making any accusations? It is for entertainment purposes only. So, Judge Stephen Hippler. We all probably have our own opinion about him. And I'm trying to leave my bias to one side as I do this reading. And I will let the universe and my spirit guides tell me what I need to know and what you need to know about Judge Stephen Hippler as regards to him as a person and in relation to this case. Okay. So it has spat out 2 cards for me. And the first card says unwavering faith. Stand firm in your beliefs. Your steadfast spirit guides. Your steadfast spirit guides you through uncertainty. And then this is gentle release. Let yourself surrender to the flow of life's mysterious currents. I mean, to be fair to him, what I will say is I'm not entirely sure whether his decisions, even though I do see them as being definitely not unbiased, whether those decisions were made completely independently or whether he was being instructed or coached, or which is quite possible. So let's carry on with the next deck. And the next deck is the Revealing the Truth Oracle. So this says divine intervention, serendipity, catalyst and karma. And adjust, adapt, accommodate, compensate, balance. I mean, I don't know what divine intervention would have been a part of this. It almost feels too planned. It has done to me. It's felt to a certain extent like there was a plan, and the plan was that this was never going to go to court. You know, I don't see this as being divine intervention, so I don't know why that card's come up. And the adjust, adapt, accommodate, compensate, balance. Such a lack of all of that as well. How balanced was he? He was so, to me, felt so far over one side. It was ridiculous. But is there some sort of balancing game going on now since the trial's finished, over, in regards to he's the one, it's down to him with the court documents that are released, what's redacted, what's unsealed, what's released. So is this about him compensating, balancing the truth, not even the truth, it's kind of trying to get the balance right so that he doesn't give anything away, or he doesn't shoot himself in the foot by releasing something that means people would question why on earth, why would this person plead guilty when there's more evidence to say he didn't do it? Which is interesting. So the next deck is a new deck, which is called the Keywords Oracle deck. I mean, there's no way he has seen every single document with regards to this case, because there are thousands of them. He hasn't got enough time to literally sit and... So it's almost like every single document he's adapting to as he goes right now. You know, I presume he's got work, he's got other cases that he's now involved with. And this is something he's having to do as extra work sort of thing. I don't know. But maybe he has someone else doing it for him. I don't know how it works, guys. I mean, he must be overseeing other cases right now. So let's see what this card's going to say. So these cards, we have the first card, Dirt. Workaholic. Come up for air. Hidden element. Digging. Getting things started. Hidden goals. Reaching goals. Keep going. What's coming next? So he's a workaholic by all accounts. Digging. Come up for air. Come up for air. Hidden element. Getting things started. Hidden goals. It's like he has a hidden agenda. There's a hidden agenda here. That's what I'm feeling. He doesn't know what's coming next because he doesn't know whether the tide is going to turn, or whether the tide is, there's going to be a bigger turn of the tide, I should say, because I think he knows that there's a percentage of people that are not buying it. And then we have pink. Conservation. Save your pennies. Healthy choices. Intelligence. Don't run away with your spending, and moderation. So he feels like he's someone who's quite frugal or even tight. Why is this affecting his pocket? That's what I'm trying to work out. Why would this situation be affecting his pocket? It's not like he gets paid differing amounts depending on whether a case is won or lost. He's meant to be an unbiased overseer, someone who makes sure the rules are being followed and adhered to. That's his job. That's meant to be his job. He's meant to be an independent adjudicator, if you like. If anything, it's his job to make sure that Brian Kohberger is getting a fair hearing, a fair trial, which, when I think about that, is just absolutely laughable. This is the Echoes of the Soul tarot deck. So we have the Reckoner, which is pretty much him. You know, he's... the buck stops with him. And then this card is the leap of faith. So it feels like he's taken a risk of some kind as far as this case is concerned. I mean, some of it just feels absolutely outrageously in your face. Did they just do that? Did he just say that? Is this real? How is that allowed? How is that, you know, it is bizarre. So I don't know what the leap of faith is about. And then this final deck, Oracle deck, is the Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle. So we've got two cards, Parent and Information, which is really interesting because this almost makes me feel like this is about Bryan Kohberger's parent or parents, and information. So it's like information has come from one of Bryan Kohberger's parents. And it almost feels like information that's been given to Judge Hippler that he has not disclosed, that he should have disclosed, because it feels like it exonerates Bryan Kohberger, but he's deliberately withheld. Either withheld exploring the information or doing the right thing with the information, I don't know. So let's get on with the clarifying with the tarot. Okay, so the unwavering faith is coming in with the Six of Swords reversed and the Star. I think he's just got this kind of ego about him that just gets in the way of him even questioning whether he's doing anything right or wrong, or whether it's morally correct, or I don't see anything yet that's telling me that he's been under duress or following any kind of order or instruction as far as this case is concerned. I don't see it yet. That may change, but I still feel like it's about him and his ego. And why though? Why is he so hell-bent on twisting the narrative? The Six of Swords reversed. It's almost like it's better for his career to see Bryan Kohberger as being guilty and prosecuted as a guilty party, rather than, you know, allowing him to be found innocent. I don't know if that's what it is, but it feels like something like that. The Star is all about public recognition. It's like he's using this case again, for a source of public recognition, for people to say, you know, what a great guy, what a great judge he did. I mean, when you think about the guilters, the people that believe Brian Kohberger is guilty, they probably have seen Judge Hippler as this amazing hero, you know, someone who just didn't stand for any crap and like was very cutthroat for all the right reasons, and he stood up for the victims' families and all that stuff, when that's not his job. His job is to make sure that Brian Kohberger got a fair trial. I think people misunderstand the role of that judge in that courtroom. So, gentle release. Clarified by the Six of Cups and the Empress reversed. So the Six of Cups. It feels like he's attaching something personal to this case. Because the Six of Cups is about memories. It's usually about happy memories, childhood memories. It's about innocence. But coming in with the gentle release card. And the Empress reversed. This is very odd, because the Empress reversed is almost a lack of nurturing energy. What was his upbringing like? What was his connection with his mother like? I don't know why I'm being shown this, but it's like there's been something missing here. He's very impatient. I get the feeling he's very impatient. He's very stubborn. I don't know what this has got to do with his past. It's almost like I almost get some misogynistic vibes from him, like he doesn't particularly like women. Not that that has anything to do with Brian Kohberger, but I would say he definitely doesn't like Ann Taylor, for sure. It'd be interesting to look back actually at some of the trial footage. The trial never started, but some of the hearings, to see how he reacted to the female lawyers for the prosecution compared to the male. Because if he's more impatient or less accommodating with the female lawyers, then that's really interesting, because that's what I'm getting from that card. So the divine intervention is clarified by the Sun and the Five of Swords reversed. He believed, I think he actually did believe that Brian was guilty, which doesn't make any sense to me. But then I also believe that he didn't really spend a lot of time going over the evidence himself. I think he just went through stuff as and when it came up. I don't think he read through stuff in advance. I think he knew what the prosecution was going to put in front of him or the defense was going to put in front of him, and he would deal with it at the time. He knew the basics, the outline of the case, obviously, but he didn't put any significant preparation in advance into looking through any of the documents. And I think he believed that Brian would just, you know, something would come up. He didn't know, but he just had faith that something would come up which would be undeniable evidence of his guilt. Which is what the Sun is about. And then we have the Five of Swords reversed. He's very it's like resentment. This card is resentment. It's past resentment. It's something is getting in the way of his judgment as a judge, which is terrible, because he should be, as I keep saying, he should be the most, his job is to be completely unbiased. And then adjust, adapt, accommodate, compensate, balance. Clarified by the Eight of Swords reversed and the Tower reversed. And he also feels like someone that didn't have great control over his own emotions. The Eight of Swords reversed is about self-limiting beliefs. It's not being open-minded. It's also about allowing your anger or your frustration to influence your decisions. And then the Tower in reverse. It feels like he kind of knew that something was, there's like this sense of things not, maybe it got to a point where he felt maybe things aren't going the way I expected, or maybe there's a possibility that the worst possible thing could happen and that he could, you know, it feels like there's been a turning point here where he's just kind of, it's been made aware to him that maybe he didn't know everything he thought he knew, and he's had to do some research on the case or had to look through some documents in finer detail, and then he's come to the realization like, oh my God. Whether he would admit that he was wrong, I don't know, but there's a moment of like, I don't think the defense are up to this. No, I don't think the prosecution are up to the job of actually proving this guy's guilt. There's too much. There's not as much evidence as he thought to prove his guilt, is what I'm sensing. Now, I know that it can't come from the judge to suggest a plea deal. But being him, it wouldn't surprise me. You know, it just would not surprise me if behind closed doors he had a conversation with the prosecution to say, I think now's the time. I don't know. So now we're moving on to this Dirt card, Workaholic, coming up for air, clarified by the Magician reversed. And the Moon. God. So yeah, digging up the dirt. The dirt's coming out. That's what this is about. It's like getting to a point in the trial where all the dirt's being dug up. Not on Brian, but on everyone else. on law enforcement, on students. You know, this is about the dirt being dug up. And the Magician in reverse, now he feels like he's losing control, he's losing power. He has no, what can he can only dismiss things for a certain amount of time before it really does look, I mean, it does look ridiculous anyway, but then it gets to the point where yeah. And then the Moon is about lies and deceit. But it's also about his fears. Things not being as they seem. So then what's this about the conservation and spending? Was that another reason for the trial not going, actually happening? Because it was too expensive, too costly, but then what a waste of money up to that point. Was he advised not to allow the trial to start because it would have been so expensive? I don't see why or how, but then who am I? Clarified by the Queen of Cups reversed and the Hierophant. Queen of Cups reversed. It's just about him looking after himself. It's like looking after number one. That it feels very selfish. It feels like, you know, when the chips are down, he will save himself. If he was the captain of a ship and the ship was sinking, he'd be the first off. Sod everyone else. He's one of those. The Hierophant is him because this is the card of the, you know, the teacher, the judge, the lawyer, whoever, the police officer. It also gives me heavy, heavy vibes of secret societies as well. So again, I keep bringing this word up, but there's something here about the Freemasons, or there's connections here, and that's the kind of web we're talking about, is a masonry kind of connection. I'm not saying it is the Masons, but it's something like that. So the Reckoner. Is he the Reckoner or is it someone else? I get the feeling it's someone else, you know. Clarified by the Four of Swords reversed and the Four of Cups. I think this case got to him. I think it really, really, I think it's almost palpable. You could see it and you could feel it, especially towards the end, that he had had enough. I mean, the whole time he's kind of sat there like this, like, oh my God, just get on with it. I'm not interested. So unprofessional. But I think towards the end, he was so incredibly stressed, exhausted. There were deliberate delays going on. And then the Four of Cups, which again is that sense of disinterest. It's that sense of being disconnected, being bored. definitely a sense of boredom. It's like he's going through some motions. That's what it felt like a lot of the time, was he's going through the motions. I have to look like I'm listening to this, even though I know at the end of it I'm going to dismiss it regardless of what it is, because I know what the end goal is. I know what the end game is. I know where we're going already. That's what it makes me feel like. So he's having to go through the motions, or pretend, or act as, you know. And then we have the leap of faith, clarified by the Seven of Cups reversed and the Page of Cups. So there was a point where he had to take a risk. I think there's a turning point here as well with Judge Hippler, where he actually realised that actually Brian Kohberger was innocent. Where he realised that he was innocent, but he had to continue. He had no choice but to continue on the path that he had started on, not because of his own morals, but because that's where he was being steered. So I think he does have morals. He's just very... It's just his ego that got in the way, I think. It's interesting because I did get the feeling that, you know, especially during the hearing of Brian Kohberger's plea deal, there was a lot of respect I felt from Judge Hippler towards Brian Kohberger during that hearing, and I found that really odd. And then we have the Page of Cups, which I think represents Brian Kohberger himself. Because Judge Hippler gave Brian Kohberger some hope by telling him, just because you've been told that you have no possibility of any appeal doesn't necessarily mean that's true. And that's what this card is about. It's actually giving him some hope. Why would he want to do that? Why would that be important to him? And then we've got information. Sorry, parents and information, these two cards. So clarified by the King of Swords reversed and the Queen of Pentacles reversed. So either the information that the parent had was about a King of Swords energy, which is Aries, sorry, not Aries, it's Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, but it could be their rising sign. Or this is just about a truth, but it's an inner truth. It's almost like, what this makes me feel like is a parent finding out something that they found out about Brian Kohberger's interrogation. I feel like it's something to do with that. They found out from him something that happened during that interrogation which was so corrupt. And it's interesting because I've not seen any transcripts or documents about his interrogation or anything, and I want to see it. I want to see what was said, even if it was only, you know, 5 sentences to say, and then Brian Kohberger saying, I want a lawyer. Something's wrong here. And his parents knew about it, and they had evidence, and they presented that to the judge, and the judge chose to ignore it. And then the Queen of Pentacles is female, possibly a female, someone who's quite devious and deceitful. Could easily be a member of law enforcement as well. It would make sense that they would use a female officer to interrogate him, being that he's on the spectrum, because they're probably more likely to get a connection. And the Lovers. The Lovers card. Something about someone he deeply cares about in his life. Now, it could be his parents, it could be his sister, I don't know, but someone here that he deeply, deeply cares about, he has a deep connection with, that they used that connection was used to frighten him, to scare him, to, it's like, I don't know, it's like telling him something like, oh, by the way, we have spoken to your mother, father, sister, whoever, and they have told us that they believe either you're guilty, or they've told us things about you that you've done in the past. And, you know, so I don't know, it's like psychological manipulation using information that's untrue. That's what I'm getting from this. And Hippler was given evidence of it and ignored it. But he's ignored an awful lot, so. Interesting. I'm going to leave you with that reading, guys. And please leave me some comments. I've missed you all so much. And tell me what you think about this new idea. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you as always. Thank you for your love, your support, your encouragement, and your engagement that return to you tenfold. I'll see you next time. Enjoy the journey.